post-city council meeting recap. Wasn't a tremendous amount of stuff on the agenda. We had kind of gone over that a couple of podcasts ago, but if you guys had sort of seen, the agenda that was posted on the door, under 6, there was a board appointment to the Lake Board. Grant English was appointed to that board, so I think he'll do a fantastic job there. A great young man that's wanting to be more active in city government and to service, and I think it's a great opportunity for him, even as he's a college student studying accounting. We had a good discussion with him at the meeting tonight. There was discussion under item 7 regarding the implementation of free dump days. Basically, there's going to be a voucher system. You turn in a current water bill in good standing, you'll get 4 vouchers. They'll keep the tonnage, towards our Keep Oklahoma Beautiful sort of grant process, and we have a lot of different awards and grants for that. So I think that'll be a good thing. Under 8, consideration of approving the final plat for New Hillcrest Housing Edition. That passed. There was discussion under item 9, kind of a recognition. I think this is great. I think to be an outstanding organization, I think there's an educational component to that. And Chris Hurley certainly seems to exhibit that in the things that he's bringing to, animal welfare here in the city of Pauls Valley. And so he's going through a training, process, covering all different aspects of animal endangerment awareness, National Incident Management System stuff with FEMA. And so I think some really good things that'll be, happening in animal welfare here in the city. So kind of a acknowledgement of his efforts in that. So I think that was great. Under 10, there was a discussion of a new lease purchase agreement with Caterpillar Financial Services for a new Caterpillar hydraulic excavator or front end loader with possible action. Basically they had expiring lease effective April 1st on another item. It was much older. And you have the option to be able to purchase at the end of the lease, and based upon the repairability, the issues that were going on with it, it was decided to go ahead and to renew a lease at a cost of $3,641 a month. And so they have the ability to buy that at the end of the term of this new lease for a total of $59,000. Again, deemed that the old device that the lease is expiring on would not be worth either purchase. And so only made sense to renew the lease. And so that was voted and approved. Consideration of approving land records notice with possible action. Basically, the old landfill, there's a sort of a certification process to identify it as a landfill, and there's certain uses that you can have for that. And so there's a survey this will be, provided. And if that is accepted, because it was done 2 years ago, then there wouldn't be an additional survey, but there could be some costs associated. And so that was discussed. Looking at an agreement between Account Management Services, LLC and the City of Pauls Valley with possible action. They're looking at situations to where Pauls Valley has written off a lot of debt due to unpaid utilities over the last 3 to 5 years, totaling, $87,000, and so this is basically going to act as a collection agency to collect on bad debt in regards to utility bills. This agency would collect, like most agencies do, 30% of the fees they collect. They would only be paid upon the things they do collect, and so in the city of Pauls Valley on some of this bad debt would collect 70% on that, and so that was moved forward. There was an executive session in regards to employment. Obviously, there's no data from that, no action that came from executive session from that perspective. Under city manager comments, discussion about a block grant, working on some upgrades to our sewer lagoons. So that was a good thing that is being done. There was some discussion over even the video that I had done on the spillway, and there was money that was allocated from Senator Tom Cole's office that I think that would be, kind of coming in 2026. However, with some of the governmental changes and some of the clawbacks and some of the funding mechanisms, that will have to be reallocated and relooked at. But the good news is that some of the videos and photos that I was able to take will be able to be utilized as a part of the information they sent to Senator Cole to be able to try to get reallocation based on the severity of the spillway damage. You guys can go to the election page and see some of the things from that from about a week and a half ago. But again, there's some information going on there. And there was discussion about, do we lower the lake levels? Well, there's not any kind of mechanism to do that. I know there'd been some discussion. Tim Tate had said he thought there might be a mechanism to do that. I looked through some of the map things, and there were some things that Mark Norman had found that showed the elevation changes for the original dam that was put down like in 1953. There's no indication for any of those things there, and nothing that was found. The gates that you see in the water are directly related to raw water that goes to the water treatment plant. But there is some investigation into ways that they could lower the water levels at the lake to help preserve the spillway or extend its life until repairs can be made. And so that's sort of occurring at this point. And that's really all that was really occurred during the city council meeting, and they adjourned from there. They moved to the municipal aspects of the meeting, basically approving PO orders to the tune of $174,000 for associated payments for the 2-week period. There was note that there was additional, maybe a little bit more payment just because it was the end of the quarter. That was worth noting. And then the meeting was adjourned, so there really wasn't a whole lot of commentary on the municipal side, just other than the approval of the payments. One thing that I found to be helpful was, I had some conversations. There were some good questions from the candidate forum last night in regards to crime. I took the opportunity to speak to Chief Don May in regards to some of my thoughts and ideas, and just really to ask questions. And I think, some of the things that I think that are important in anyone serving in a city council capacity, and this is something I believe and something I'm learning, is that there are certainly people that know a tremendous amount about their specific niche or expertise, such as law enforcement. And so there was a lot of questions that I asked him in regards to, could the app be used? And there were some concerns over that in regards to like where those things are routed, some difficulties. We talked about, he's in favor of me again. Security is good, if you have the ability to obtain it, both for your premises as well as video. But also, having more light through town. So I think that's something that I think we all agree on. I talked to him about the group text sort of subscription, model for notification. And there's some, technical factors that affect that, like when incidents are reported and how long it takes for those things to sort of occur. And now that dispatch is no longer at the PD, but at county, there are some things to be considered from that perspective. But I found him to be very knowledgeable and certainly willing to answer questions, as are most people that I've encountered within the city. I had additional conversation with Mark Norman in regards to this sort of, their purchasing process, just so I have a better understanding of that, just to see if there was any efficiencies or automation and things that can kind of occur through the PO and authorization process. So just some discussions, nothing specific on that, but just discussions in that way. And I had a really good conversation with the city manager following the meeting. The one thing that I would say about, the city manager that's currently there, Joe Livingston, he's always willing to answer questions. He's always willing to educate. We had some really good discussion in regards to financial state. We had really good discussions in regards to some of the tourism aspects of things, billboards versus geofencing. We talked about the Pride of Oklahoma coming here. The Band Boosters are bringing the Pride of Oklahoma here for OU Texas on October 10th, which is a Friday before the OU Texas game down in Dallas. And opportunities we had to do some tourism things associated with it, whether through the railroad or whether it's through, packages and different things that we can sort of do, but very, very informative. Would want to tell you guys to definitely get out there and meet with him tomorrow at 10 in the morning. He's doing his, Coffee with Joe over at Iron Wolf Coffee at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. So definitely check that out. I think there'll be some good conversation there just to get an update. And I think more than anything else, we talked about collaboration last night in regards to, city groups, boards, the council, town. And I definitely feel that Joe's there for that. And so I think that the more educated we all become on the issues that are affecting everyone else and what everyone else is working on, that there's a lot of common ground. And that's what I'm kind of finding through this process. I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I think that should be something that makes everybody feel pretty good in that regard. And so that's really all I have to say for tonight. And we'll shut her down. And everyone have a good evening. And God bless.